So today's vodcast or podcast, if you're listening to the audio on this, is all about using different kinds of leather than what you're normally used to, the normal cow, the normal calf, etc. In the meantime, I'm talking to you from Dar Harbour in Egypt. I'm here on a diving holiday. It's a very inspiring place, and yesterday I was going through the market and I came across a store. And as I normally do when I'm on holiday vacation, I like to stop at any store that sells leather products. And this one was a little bit different. It was a lot of tan bags, a lot of handbags and cases and things like that. I'll show some pictures. And I asked what leather that they were using in these bags. And the man said to me that it was camel leather. I'd never seen camel leather before. I know of it, but I've never seen it in any of the suppliers that I use, any of the websites that I buy from. And I thought it'd be really awesome to use some camel leather in a bag, because here camels are used for a multitude of different things, from travel to milk to labor and of course meat. Camel meat is quite popular here, so naturally there is a byproduct of these skins that are going to be discarded or used for leather. So I did try and ask the guy if he had any spare skins, but these are kind of pre-made bags in Egypt that he sells. But the leather was absolutely beautiful. It was very soft to the touch, not unlike calf. If there was a leather that it was quite close to, I'd say calf leather. There was a very slight, you could see pores in some of them that hadn't been finished, which is a little bit like pig skin. Not exactly like it, but kind of similar to it. And I thought it'd be really cool to try and get hold of some camel leather, but the guy only sold bags, pre-made bags in Egypt. He didn't actually sell the leather itself, and I didn't really have time to try and find some. Dar Harbour is relatively small, I think, in the grand scheme of things, so I don't know if they would have a tannery or leather supplier here, but I will endeavour to get some and perhaps use it in the Leathercraft Masterclass courses. But I think it's really cool to sometimes use another kind of leather that we're not used to, and it doesn't have to be exotic. Kangaroo leather comes to mind, and in fact somebody, I forget who now, messaged me the other day and said something along the lines of Nike is dropping kangaroo leather in a lot of their products and replacing it with synthetic options. Now, I did look a little into this. I don't know if it's their entire line, but I know that they were using camel leather on their football boots or their soccer boots. Not camel leather, sorry, kangaroo leather. But also Puma is doing the same. So a lot of the suppliers of kangaroo leather and tanneries are rightfully worried as well. And I think there's one Adelaide tannery that is closing down because of it. So I'm imagining that Nike and Puma collectively were using up a lot of kangaroo leather and keeping it going. And again, much like camel leather here, kangaroo leather is a byproduct of the meat industry. Of course, you can buy kangaroo. I've tasted it myself before. It's delicious. So not only do I think it's good to diversify the kind of leathers that we use, but I also think it's a good idea to support the tanneries that produce more unusual leathers, because the vast majority of leathers that we buy and are used in pre-made products are going to be cowhide, calf, sheep, lamb. So for me, I want to try and include, if I can, some more unusual leathers, because there are benefits as well. For example, kangaroo leather is extremely strong, a very, very high tensile strength. So if you want to use something that is similar in some ways, from what I've seen, to goat, but you really want that extra strength, kangaroo leather is fantastic. Camel leather stronger than cowhide as well. I'm not sure, I've heard anywhere from 3 to 5 times stronger. I don't know how they're measuring that, but it seems to be an extremely tough skin, which makes sense because it's an extremely durable, hard-wearing animal itself. So I kind of wanted to ask you guys, what unusual leathers have you used before? What kind of unusual skins. It doesn't have to be exotic. Have you tried before? Because variation, I think, is one of the key things to understand in leathercraft if you want to improve. So yeah, camel leather, who thought? It does, I'm going to be honest, it does smell a little bit. But apparently there are tanneries in Europe, Italy I believe, that tans camel leather, and it just smells like any other leather really. But it does have a bit of a gamey smell to it. So if you do get offered some, or you manage to find some, have a little smell first to make sure it's to your taste. But kangaroo leather, I think, another one that really needs our help at the moment. If you have access to it and it's not particularly cost prohibitive, I think it's really important to support an industry, because if a lot of the tanneries shut, it's going to be a lot harder to get. Prices are probably going to skyrocket, and availability is going to be difficult. So I think it's an industry that really does need our help. So variation, guys, variation is the key. Thank you for joining me on this very short podcast here in Dahab, Egypt. This is the Sophia Resort. Really nice place. Weather is very hot. It's a little overcast today. Of all the days that I was going to do a quick chat with you guys, it's quite overcast. Still very hot. But thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.